Hey guys, just got to Guadalupe Mountains and I am at the Frijole Ranch trailhead. That is Frijole Ranch. It's currently closed and they're doing some work to it. But from this trailhead, I am going to hike the Smith Spring Trail. This is a popular, easy trail if you only have a couple hours out here, maybe 3 hours. This is only a little over 2-mile trail to a really neat spring here. If you've ever been out here, you know there's hardly any water at all, so it's cool to see the water come pouring out of the mountain. But I'm going to show you that. This is the start of a bigger trip, and this is a little warm-up hike for me. So I'm going to hit the Smith Spring Trail and hopefully a couple other neat points of interest just off this trail, and follow along and hope you enjoy it. Hiking this trail backwards to what I think most people would do. I'm actually hiking clockwise and saving the Manzanita side, or the Manzanita Spring side of the trail, for last. That's a Nipple Hill out there. You can probably guess how it gets its name, but it's really close to the other side of the Smith Spring Trail. A little closer view of the small cave I'm going to head to, and I'm at the bend for the ridge that cave is on. So right in here I'm going to head off trail, follow this hillside up, and make it up there to the cave. So I'm on top of the ridge, headed over to that cave, and just over the ridge, down there where those trees are real thick in the center of the shot, that's where Smith Spring is, a little farther down. Give you the view off the top of where I'm at right now. Pretty good view. Quite a bit higher than Nipple Hill. Then you can see Manzanita Spring, just a small pool of water straight out in the shot, right in the center. That's also on the Smith Spring Trail. See the highway a little bit farther back in the distance. That's the boundary of the national park. And then there is Frijole Ranch, where I started at, quite a bit lower down. Center of the shot, just on the other side of the highway, that's the national park housing for people that work out here. And then swinging back around, you can see El Cap sticking out just a little bit. So I'm gonna keep making my way up this ridge, and the cave is just on the other side, and down just a little bit. So the route's gotten a little sketchy as I've dropped down, trying to get on the same elevation as this cave, but I'm almost there, and I just got to make it through. Basically, this is what it's looked like as I've dropped down: prickly pear, rock, grass, a lot of things that poke you. But up on the ridge, it really wasn't bad at all. There's a couple little game trails. And anyway, yeah, let me show you what this looks like, and we'll head back the other way. Well, I made it into the cave. A lot of deer poop up here. I can see why. It's really cool under here, and neat little place to hang out. Looks like some little bit of formations back there, and I believe they called this the sheep pen back from the ranching days. I saw a little barbed wire fence, an old one. It was knocked down a little in front of this, so that's pretty neat. This angle gives you a pretty good look at what the whole cave looks like. These big sections of rock that have fallen down right here in the middle, and it goes for a ways back over there. So to give you a better look from up here of the route I took coming up, I started there at well, let's see, right there at Frijole Ranch, and then I took the Smith Spring Trail up this way over to this ridge, just at the base of this ridge, and then I came up this ridge I actually jumped up on top of it to where I couldn't see the cave anymore, walked about halfway here, and then started dropping down. Once I started dropping down, that's whenever I ran into a little bit thicker, pokey vegetation, and but it really wasn't too bad, especially up on the ridge, and then farther down, it's mostly just grass, and I really wasn't worried about sticking myself too much. But this is a really cool cave. Glad I came up here to check it out. I got a quick break, and now I'm going to head back down and join back in with the Smith Spring Trail and go check out the spring. So I connected back in with the Smith Spring Loop Trail, and I'm headed toward the spring right now. Seen several people on the trail from up above, but I've only actually passed one person. He said he saw some javelina at the spring. That'd be kind of neat to see. You can tell you're getting really close to the spring. You start seeing pine trees, madrones, seeing junipers, starting to see flowers. Pretty amazing sight. Coming through hot desert, and then bam, all of a sudden spring. A lot of life under here. It's cool just to listen to the water flow and check out all the trees that couldn't survive 50 yards further back up the trail. Here we are coming up closer to the actual main part of the spring. Give you an overview of the whole area. There's where the water's flowing out, and it eventually, I believe, flows back underground, and then I believe that it comes up or reemerges at Manzanita Spring. We are toward the end of the rainy season here. Both times I've been to Smith Spring was in September, I believe. First time was in 2015, and they had just had a huge flood, had most of the park closed. And the spring was really flowing then. It's got some really good flow right now too. Well, I'm gonna go over here and sit on a rock and make some lunch. Couldn't ask for a better place to take a break. Too busy looking at the water, I almost didn't realize this is by far the biggest madrone tree I've ever seen. It's got that reddish bark, and it gets, I would think, pretty much constant water year round. Huge compared to most madrones. That bark is just really neat. Well, I made it back around the trail to Manzanita Spring. This is more like a little pond. I don't think you can see any water flowing up or out from anywhere. I've never been able to see it. It's got this thick grass all the way around it, and I would imagine this is a good place to see wildlife early in the morning or later in the evening. Manzanita Spring actually has a paved trail, sidewalk, all the way to it from here to Free Holy Ranch House. So anybody who's disabled or anything, that is always an option for you as a trail out here. Well, I did find a small amount of water draining out of Manzanita Spring on the backside, and it flows down into this thick grass, and you can hear it flowing under the grass Not sure exactly how far out it goes. Here's a look at the trail between Manzanita Spring and Frijole Ranch and the trailhead where you park at. So this is the back side of Frijole Ranch house, and I just thought it was really neat. I was walking by. This is their small orchard they have here, and you can see those pears on that tree straight in front. And there's a lot of these trees have fruit on them, and I think that's really neat for how hot and dry it is out here, that people 100 years ago were able to farm and make a living out here. This small red building here is the schoolhouse at Frijole Ranch, and it's also where the teacher lived at. And here is the Frijole Ranch house. This is the back side of it. And if you get a chance when you come out here, if they have it open for you to walk through, that's a really neat experience. Here's a little bit better shot. That's the schoolhouse, and then a little farther back, the Frijole Ranch house. And this small white structure right there is the well house. There's quite a bit of water comes flowing up right there and then flows out back behind the house back to where the orchard's at. Well guys, that was the Smith Spring Trail. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for following along. And now I'm headed out to a bigger adventure along the Guadalupe Ridge Trail. So look forward to those videos, and thanks for watching.